Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us with Rally with Champions. We're about 5 minutes till broadcast time. So, if you're here, welcome. We're just going to kind of chat a little bit and kind of get to know one another while we're here, while we're waiting for all of our other viewers to chime in. But we have Kaleigh and we have Chiddy, and I'm so excited. Okay, so you guys are just like sitting at home. Where are you? What are you doing through this madness? Like, how has it affected you guys? What's going on in your day?
Yeah, for me, I'm in Newport Beach right now. We, as a water polo team, train at Los Alamitos, which is just about 30 minutes away. So all of us are based in Southern California. I grew up in Newport, so it's kind of nice. I get to stay at home. Obviously, we're not training right now, so I'm just hanging out. The beaches are still open. I also surf, so that's kind of been keeping me sane and grounded through this crazy time. And our team has been meeting on Zoom to stay connected, and our strength and conditioning coach has given us workouts to keep somewhat fit, but really we're just giving each other grace during this crazy time.
So you guys haven't like set up a net in the ocean and, like 6 feet apart, like trying to pass balls and trying to score with the dolphins, like nothing like that?
No, not yet. I'm sure if you mentioned that to our head coach, he would make sure that would happen pretty soon.
Well, then I'm going to mention that. I mean, I think you guys should film that, and that'd be really good. And Chiddy, you're like actually close to Kaleigh, right?
Yeah, I'm in Orange, California, so not too far. I'm actually from Michigan, but we were in the middle of tour when all of this, happened. So we were actually in Washington, and we just got to Washington in the morning, and then everything just escalated, and we were out that night. So I decided just to come back to California and spend some time with my brother and his family, and been hanging out with my nephew, and just been, trying to same thing, stay as fit as you can in these circumstances. I've been working out in my brother's garage and just trying to keep up with some body weight things. Like, I haven't done really much softball stuff because, you can't go to the parks, and I don't have a net or anything like that here. So I just, I think my body's thanking me a little bit, just like taking a little bit of a break, but, just trying to keep up with fitness with, like I said, body weight workouts, bike rides, walks, runs, like just trying to have fun with, staying active.
I can't even imagine you guys just going through that like mental prep of, the last, like really probably, I mean, the last year of vamping up and, every day dreaming about what it's going to be. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, no, I'm in California with my brother, or, not able to go to a pool, and I'm, getting in more surf time. So these are crazy times right now. And I have 2 kids at home, and it went from, working and like 4,000 things on the calendar to like, oh my gosh, now I'm a first grade teacher with no help. And like, whoa, where did this life go? So, so have you guys talked to any of your teammates and talking about getting back to normal, or like, is that even on the radar for any of you guys, or are you just kind of playing it by ear?
For us, we meet every week, a couple times a week. We do sports psych still with our sports psych, who's been amazing during these times. And then we have some team meetings or once or twice a week where we'll talk. We'll get an update from our team doctor. We'll watch video, just ways to stay connected, because everyone's all over the place and our emotions are all over the place. But actually yesterday was our first conversation of what the next steps are going to be, although there's still not many answers. It's still very uncertain, but I think we're starting to get that time, whether it's the girls that are still in college get to go back for a semester or a quarter, whether we're all going to go abroad or we're all still going to come back together. Usually with the way water polo works, you're either abroad playing, you're coaching, or you're playing in college. And we only come together and are at Los Alamitos for summers, and then the year out to the Olympic Games, which we call full-time training. So it'd be very tedious on us if we went to another year of full-time training at Los Alamitos base. So I think those are the conversations that are starting to be had, which is great because it's kind of gets us to the next planning stages.
That's awesome. Well, I'm so excited that you guys are joining us. And if you've been with us the last 5 minutes, we're just kind of catching up with our 2 athletes that we have here. But I think we're going to get going because we've got only a half hour, and I could talk to these ladies for like the next I don't know, 2 weeks, but we've got to pack it all in. So I just want to welcome everybody for being here and coming to Rally with Champions. This is our second live virtual workshop. My name is Shannon Barkey, and I'm going to be your host today. Just for those of you who don't know me, I'm a 3-time Olympian and 2-time Olympic medalist in a winter sport of mogul skiing. And I just can't tell you how thrilled I am to chat with these two ladies here. Kaleigh Gilchrist, she is an Olympic champion in the sport of water polo, which is just so awesome. And then Amanda Chidester, and all of her friends and teammates call her Chitty. So since now we're like super close BFFs, I'm gonna call her Chitty too. But our topic today is serious, and I think that a lot of, people struggle with this. And I think Olympians, are kind of put on the stage as with all elite level athletes of how we deal with mental health. And I think it's always been, not really talked about. So I'm pretty excited that we can kind of bring this and talk about it and talk about, what we go through. So that's really exciting to me. But I want to first kind of introduce with Rally with Champions and what we are and what we're doing. So the purpose behind Rally of Champions is to help raise money for Olympians and Paralympians on their quest for gold in Tokyo 2020, because their opportunity to shine on the world's biggest stage was postponed for another year. And I can't even imagine that. And just as important is, wanting to inspire all of you at home that are, practicing social distancing and kind of just going crazy on a daily basis. This is going to be our time to connect. So this is our second of 10 workshops that we're going to talk about lots of engaging stuff and meet some really cool Olympians and Paralympians from the Summer Games that are going to try and go for gold. So I'm really, really excited. I also want to thank Team Empower Hour and Convoy Events for being able to make this happen. So it's really cool. So I want you athletes to introduce yourself the way that you want to be introduced, because I don't do it as good a justice as you guys do. So Chitty, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Amanda Chidester, and as Shannon said, everyone in the softball world calls me Chitty. It's been a nickname of mine, since I've been younger, starting team sports. I am a first base catcher. I am from Michigan. I'm graduated from the University of Michigan. I'm one of 5. I have 4 brothers growing up. I'm right in the middle, 2 older, 2 younger, and they've been huge, and my parents been huge throughout my whole career. Let's see, I have been playing with Team USA since 2012, and just been fighting to get softball back into the Olympics, and the moment has finally arrived, and I could not be more excited about it. So
that's awesome. What about you, Kaleigh?
Hi, everyone. Super happy to be here. Thanks, Shannon, for setting this up. And Chitty, I'm glad we're sharing this together. I'm 27 years old from Newport Beach, California. Grew up here and I reside here today. I went to the school of University of Southern California where I played water polo. And my dad actually and my uncle swam at USC and also swam in 2 Olympic Games. So I've kind of followed in my father's footsteps.
Your Olympic royalty,
never really,
right here. Right
it was
here.
never really it was never really the plan. It was just kind of interesting how that journey evolved, and it's been really cool to share these experiences with my father. Obviously, he swam in 1964, which just so happened to be in Tokyo. So if I'm able to make it back there, in 2021, 57 years later, it'll be a really special moment for my family. But I play water polo and I also surf professionally. So I'm a dual sport athlete, and it's really exciting to see surfing in the Olympic Games. And I'm excited to cheer all those people on and all friends and family and fans on in those games. And yeah.
That is so awesome. Okay. I just love it. Being a winter athlete, I mean, I want to know, what do you guys have? Like, what kind of equipment do you use? I mean, I know, Chitty, you got like a baseball and a glove and, or a softball and a glove and all those things, but did you bring anything with you that you can share with everybody from home?
Yes, I brought some stuff. So this is my first baseman glove. Nicely, I got to customize it. Wilson, go Wilson. They make the best gloves, if anyone was wondering. This is my first baseman's glove, and this is my catcher's glove. So they're definitely, they're a little bit similar, but they're definitely a lot different. But yeah, I like the all red look. This has been my favorite go-to glove with that. And then I also brought my helmet. I didn't bring my bat with me, but I brought my helmet. I love these USA helmets this year.
Yeah.
They're pretty awesome. So yeah, that was the equipment that I brought to share. I really
love
enjoy
it.
customizing the gloves. So
Yeah, so do you guys get to pick out your own colors and like do anything you want with your gloves and helmets?
yeah, most companies do it. I've been sponsored with Wilson, and they have been amazing with it. Like I have a bunch of different color gloves. They just, yeah, you get to go online and they have this whole system where you can go on and choose all the different colors that you want and piece it together. So, you know, and this year was
Do
kind
they
of
have
special.
like an atomic pink? Do they have an atomic pink that I could go with?
You know what? They definitely have a pink bat. I don't know about the glove, but they have a bat that you would
Yes,
absolutely love.
in. That's awesome. And Kaleigh, did you bring anything fun for us?
Yeah, I just brought the ball since the pool is a little difficult to bring, or the cages. But this is just, Mikasa is what we use internationally. There's a couple other companies out there, but this is the ball that we play with. There's 3 sizes of water polo balls, a 3 for 10 and unders, which is usually co-ed. And then we move to size 4, which is the women's size. And then men use a size 5, which just is a little bit bigger. But yeah, this is the normal ball. You can grip it. It's probably the same size as the ball.
I was gonna say, what is it like? Is it sticky? Is it soft? Is
it's
it
interesting. There's like some texture and it's a little tough, but it kind of changes once it goes in the water. So it's grip. It's not as grippy out of the water, but as soon as the water gets involved, you can grip it a little bit better. Most females can grip a size 4. I think pretty much everyone on our team can. Yeah.
That's really cool. See, I mean, we just have, you know, like skis and poles and goggles and I don't know. It's so cool to learn what you guys have. On our last one, we had Mariel, and she brought her saber, like her sword, and then Mary brought her gun. And I'm just like, whoa,
wow.
To have 2 awesome chicks with a saber and a gun in one show, like, stop it. That was really cool. So we had a lot of fun with that. So, okay, so I kind of want to get down to it. The topic that we have today is mental health awareness. And I'm really, really thankful that this topic is becoming more and more mainstream. And I'm really looking forward to continuing this conversation with you guys today. So I think, you know, we all struggle at different points in our lives, and some certainly more than others. And I truly believe that the more that we can talk about this openly and what we're going through and who helped us and what helped us, that we don't feel so alone. And, you know, we're more likely to reach out and ask for help and, you know, talk to our teammates and our parents and, you know, those people that can really help us. So I just kind of wanted to ask you guys, you know, a couple questions about what you've been going through and, you know, just be open and honest and maybe help somebody at home that, you know, to help them feel that they're not alone. So, and I'm going to try and direct my questions. Last time I was not as clear as I should be. So I'm going to try and direct those questions to you guys. So I have my first one for you, Kaleigh. I know that we had discussed a little bit earlier that this last year has been a struggle for you. And, you know, maybe this was kind of the first look into a really, really hard time in your life. So can you just tell us about it? Tell us what you've been going through and, you know, some of the things that you've been dealing with.
Yeah, sure. I think first off, I always respected people that came out and talked about mental health and awareness, but I never completely resonated with it because prior to this year, I mean, I've been pretty darn fortunate with just my upbringing and the things I'm able to accomplish. And of course, there's been struggles and there's been some tough times, but really looking back on it, my road was quite enjoyable. And this year we won world championships in Gwangju, South Korea. It was July 26th. We all were out celebrating. We ended up going to a club with other FINA championship athletes there and having the time of our life. And then next thing you know, we're all up on this balcony dancing. We're flying out the next day. We're world champs. And 2 South Koreans happened to pass away, and I got the most severe injured out of all the athletes there. Kind of got pinned down, and it was obviously a very tough time, all kind of a blur, but got rushed outside. Thank gosh for the water polo community and all the help. We all really came together and went to South Korean hospital and underwent surgery and was there for 4 extra days. And crazy times for sure. My team had to fly out the next day, and there I woke up from surgery, and that's when the South Korean and broken English said, you know, you're going to be okay, but you're millimeters away from your nerve. And I think that's when it really hit me. I was like, wow, I was millimeters away from never having a functioning foot again. So in a weird way, that's prepped me for what's going on now. Like my Olympics were almost taken away from me in July. So I'm going through similar emotions to that I went through then in July. But my trainer was there, our doctor was there, and they were saints during the whole time. My trainer dubbed my comeback the Mamba Mission because I'm a huge Kobe Bryant fan. And I actually have met him a bunch of times. We follow each other on social, and he helped me through the process, giving me advice. He gave me some of his contacts through the whole process, his lawyer, chiropractor, and we just started building this relationship. Was really, really cool. And obviously, if you told my 8-year-old self that I was going to be friends with Kobe, you know, there's no way I'd believe that. But so of course I'm rehabbing for 4 months, finally I put so many hours into the Mamba Mission, and I finally got to play again, which was obviously a very emotional time, but then I'm back to about 100%. And that allowed me to have a lot more time to start thinking about the things that happened and, you know, the severity of the incident. And then Kobe passed away, and him being a mentor, and just the Mamba Mission evolved. It started off as a little joke with my trainer and I, who I have a great relationship with, and it evolved into so much more. And of course, with his passing and Gigi and the 7 others, it just kind of hit home and brought back a bunch of other emotions. In the same year, I lost my coach, high school coach Barnett, who I still talk to his wife weekly. We have a great connection, but Coach B was those two, Kobe and Coach B, were the biggest sports inspiration and mentors in my life. So I think that all of these things happening within a year, and I didn't even understand it. And then finally I had time to think about everything. We were in Colorado Springs training at USOPC training camp, and I had 2 panic attacks there. And that's something I've never really dealt with. And I basically fainted in my coach's arms and had to get out of the pool one day. And that's when I was like, okay, finally, I've been pushing this off. I know I need help. There's clearly some things I need to dive into. And I think I've just been pushing it off because I was just putting all my effort into rehabbing and getting better. And now that there was more time to think about everything, it was my body's way. And there's just so many triggers happening. And I think that was in February. So since February that happened, we immediately called therapists. I started working with my sports psych more often, and just really trying to dive into these and understanding that they're still going to continue to come, these panic attacks and these emotions of sadness and of grief. But, you know, you can also learn how to work with them, and you can also have joy and fun and love in your life too. So, I mean, this is all really recent to me, and
Wow.
you know, I'm just trying to be open with it because it's new and I know others go through it. So yeah, it's only been about 2 months dealing with it, but it's been good.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for sharing. And, you know, I think it's so unique with athletes because sometimes we are able to really, really compartmentalize things, right? If we just have this one focus of going for gold, and literally everything else kind of gets put by the wayside. And then you have a time like this where, you know, you're not sure of what that means and what that is and what that focus is right now, that you do have time to reflect. And I think sometimes it just like is this egg that's cracked open and you're like, oh my gosh. So I really hope that you're finding, you know, some peace and some help, and, you know, reaching out and sharing it, because you're not alone in all of this. So thank you. And so Chidi, I think one of the things that you know, as we talk about this, right, we come to this moment of, you know, where are we? And I think that as athletes, a lot of times we identify with who we are just as an athlete. Like I remember when I retired from sport, I started up, you know, a coffee company, but I would like introduce myself like, no, I'm Shannon, a 3-time Olympian. I'm not the person that owns a coffee shop, you know, like this is just kind of my alternate persona. So how is that, you know, how have you navigated that? And, you know, has that been really hard for you?
Yeah, you know, it's something that I have been working on for a while now, and I have to continue to work on it. The moment that I realized that it was a thing was, you know, when I graduated from college, because I went through this phase where I felt like I couldn't go, you know, I lived in Ann Arbor, but I didn't want to go back to Michigan, you know, to watch games and stuff, because it was like, well, why would anyone want to see me anymore? Like, I'm not playing anymore. So who, like, why would anyone want to, you know, talk to me or see how I'm doing? Like, I'm not on the field. And so it was really hard for me to separate the two, because, you know, when I had successes, it was like, oh, that's why, you know, I didn't really think about it that way, but that's how it was, is that when I was successful, that's why people liked me. And if I wasn't successful, I wanted to kind of like ignore and kind of avoid different people, because it was like, oh my gosh, maybe they think, you know, bad about me or whatever it is. And I had, you know, such a hard time separating the two in college. And, you know, again, you know, you just said it, like when you have a moment to sit down and reflect, it like things start hitting you a little bit more. And when I graduated from college, you know, you go from that intense college schedule to then, you know, a completely different schedule. Like that's a huge transition as an athlete. And during that time is when I struggled the most of, you know, just trying to figure out who I am as Amanda, not, you know, Chitty on the softball field type deal. Like, you know, like I'm still worthy. I'm still a great human. You know, I'm worth a lot as me as just a person. And I had to, you know, I went to therapy, and I think that was, you know, the greatest decision that I've ever done, was go to therapy and talk to someone, you know, who's outside of it, talk to someone who could help me understand, you know, how to be compassionate with yourself, or even to like, you know, the steps on how to take to figure out, you know, who you are, what you want to be. And that helped me become the athlete I am today. Like, I wish I would have, you know, took care of my personal self more in college and was able to separate the two, because I think that's really helped me take my career to a whole nother level and continue to get better, because I understand that softball is not who I am. It's something that I do. And, you know, making that separation is just, it's so valuable.
Yeah, no, it's crazy how much, you know, importance we put on our sport. And, you know, I can tell you as somebody that's retired, that changes, you know, when you retire and you hang it up, and all of a sudden, you know, your mom, you're a wife, you're all these things, you're so much more than just the sport that you did for so long. And I think the more that we can embrace that and show people our true colors, that really helps us be a better athlete. So I'm so happy. All right. So I want to go back to Kaleigh, and so you broke up a little bit the first time too. So I just wanted to clarify, as some people kind of wrote in that they didn't fully understand what happened. So you guys were out celebrating after you were world champions, and everybody was so excited, and you were dancing, and the platform that you were up on collapsed, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
In a nightclub, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and like that's my worst nightmare, because I don't know how many like places that I have danced around the world, whether it be up on a table or up on nightclubs. So that is literally like my worst nightmare. I can't imagine that happening. So I hope that clears that all up for our audience at home. But I want to ask you another question, as you know, you kind of are these two different types of athletes, and that to me seems really fun. You are a team, and you're part of a team. Playing water polo, but then you're also, you know, a single surfer out there, which is what I identify with. And sometimes it feels so alone. And so when you go through hard things, when you face fear, when you face failure, do you approach it differently with your teammates versus just being by yourself? Or do you have different ways to deal with both of those sets of circumstances?
Yeah, it's actually pretty interesting. And I've obviously learned a lot as the years have gone, balancing both sports, but I've only, you know, water polo usually takes priority. And, you know, I've always stressed balance in my life and knowing when to give more to something, or, you know, when to kind of back off something else. And right now, water polo is priority. So surfing for me is my outlet. That's keeping me sane. That's my mental escape. Like, I'm in love with the ocean. I'm in love with the upbringing, the culture, you know, even the smell of a new wetsuit and surfboard. You know, we're freaks as surfers. So
I love that.
Yeah. So whenever I have a tough practice, or whenever I'm kind of struggling in the pool, the first thing I need to do is go surfing. And sometimes that happens in between double days, and my teammates and my coaches know it, and they just totally accept it and let me do it. So in that aspect, it's kind of been my escape these last few years. But when I was competing on surfing full time, and I actually took a year off after the Rio Olympic Games, I realized how much I miss the team. And that's the biggest reason I came back to the sport. I love surfing, and I was so fortunate to travel the world, and I built my own little team, but it's different. You know, you've got Mother Nature you're dealing with, you're out there by yourself, you're competing against others. It's an individual sport.
And sharks.
Yes, and sharks and big waves. But I think so. the team aspect is one of the coolest things, and just being able to celebrate the highest of highs and be able to be there for another in the lowest of lows is what's special. And surfing, I think, has helped me be a better water polo player because there's so many outside circumstances that come in, and I just learned to focus on what I can control. And that's something I'm trying to do during this whole pandemic as well, just focus on the controllables.
Man, that is awesome. So I was pretty good friends with a lot of the women's hockey team during the Olympics. And I was like, can you just please make me an honorary member so when you guys win, like I can jump on the dog pile? Like that's all I want. When I'm up on the podium, I'm like, yay me, this is so fun. But you guys like dog pile. And I was like, just let me on the ice, okay? Like I just want to celebrate with you guys. So I'm very jealous of both of your team sports. And so Chidi, for you, I think you and I, you know, as we talked about this a little bit earlier, just not feeling enough, not feeling ever good enough. And, you know, no matter what you do, right? People think, oh my gosh, Shannon, you're a 2-time Olympic medalist. Like, wow, that must be the pinnacle of life. And I'm like, no way. I mean, I could have won way more and I could have done this and I could have, you know, and I don't know, how do you, you know, how do you deal with that? And when, you know, when is enough enough? And when do you feel like I am me and this is good. This is good. I am enough.
You know, that's a great question. It's a constant thing you're trying to figure out, you know? And, you know, especially everything that we're going through right now, like I've been, you know, I felt it a little bit on tour because, you know, you're pressing to, you know, show that you know, you should be on this team and you deserve to be on this team and this and that. And then, but even now more so like these days, like my schedule is not what I want it to be right now. You know, like it takes everything out of me to like stop and breathe and just like, you know, like Kaleigh was saying, like you have to be able to control the controllables. And right now, this is my life. Like it's to stay healthy and to keep, you know, my family healthy and not, you know, put others in danger and, you know, to know your part. And I think right now, just kind of, I think the biggest thing that I've learned is like, you really need to take time to yourself and ask yourself, like, well, are you doing everything that you possibly can, given the circumstances that you're in? Like, are you, you know, like right now, like I can, you know, control my nutrition to a certain extent with, you know, not being able to go to the grocery store as much. You know, my fitness, like I can't lift weights, you know, I don't have access to that, but can you go for walks? Can you go on a jog? Can you go for a bike ride? You know, can you do push-ups and air squats and all these different things, like, and stretch and do yoga? Yes, I can. Okay, great. Can you take time out of your day to sit and reflect and journal and go in those areas? Yes, absolutely you can. And I guess too, just knowing that like deep down, like I know what it takes when we get out of this, you know, when we get out of this, like I know what I need to do as an athlete and as a softball player to get myself where I want to be. And I have to trust that. And trust, you know,
it is
trust
so
the
much
situation.
trusting the process, right?
Oh,
it is so
yes.
much trusting the process and staying on course. And I think for being a mom now, stay-at-home mom, and work from home mom, it's crazy to be able to trust that process that you've built up with your family and, you know, doing all of those things. So I think people at home can really, really identify this. I call it panic pivoting, when everybody's like, oh my gosh, I need to do all these new things because I'm in a new situation. But what I hear from you is like, trust in what you put forward and trust in your path, that when we all come out, that it's going to be okay.
And the biggest thing that I've found is that you have to trust in yourself. And in order to build trust in yourself is to do the things that you say you're going to do. So if you continually make maybe a list or, you know, I'm going to do this, this, and this day, complete it, do it, because then you can build trust with yourself. Because if you don't do the things you say you're going to do, then you're constantly going to live in, oh, I didn't get it done, or, oh, this, oh, that, like, but make your list realistic, you know, like don't make them unrealistic, make them realistic and continue to build that trust with yourself. And then you can live with it. You know, that's what I've learned the most.
I love that. I love that. I need to do more of that today, because sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, I make this like to-do list. And then by like noon, I'm like, oh, okay, that is so far from what I can actually accomplish today.
Mm-hmm. We set ourselves up for failure.
We do. We are like literally right now, you know, this society that is setting ourselves up for failure all the time. It's so hard to be able to do everything at once. So So, okay, I love this. I could talk with you girls for hours on self-love and taking care of ourselves and doing those things and being strong. But we're going to do a couple of rapid fire questions, okay? So now these are just going to be fun Olympic questions, and you just have to like say the first thing that comes to your mind, okay? So I'm just going to go, whoever it comes to first just says it, and then the other person comes to it. Okay. So these are going to be quick, okay? So what is your first Olympic memory?
2000 Sydney Swimming Games.
I don't have one yet.
I love that. No. Okay. Like, when was the first time you saw the Olympics? Like, what did you see and were you like, wow, you know, like, what was that?
The
Like,
podium stand. Yeah. That's what I always envision. When I think of the Olympics, I think of the podium stand.
Okay. I love it. I love it. Okay. So what other Olympian are you most excited to meet in Tokyo? Do you have somebody you're going to stalk?
Yeah.
Yay! I love it. I love it. Well, when I was in my Winter Olympics, I always wanted to meet Shaun White, you know, the flying tomato, like crazy red hair. So I like kind of stalked him a little bit. Okay. So who is your Olympic hero?
My dad.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
I don't know if I have one.
You don't have an Olympic hero yet? You can say me, and that will be
Shannon.
Okay, thank you. I mean, I'm really out there all over the place, so I appreciate that. Okay, if you were to compete in another Olympic sport, and Kaleigh, you can't say surfing, you have to say a different one, other than water polo, surfing, or softball. What would your Olympic sport be?
Basketball.
Hurry, go. Swimming. All right. Okay, good. I love it. Okay. Ooh, this one's a good one. Do you have an Olympic crush? Anybody out there? Huh?
No.
You don't have to answer if you don't want to. Okay, that was really fun. Thank you for that. All right, so I always love, like, I believe, especially with this one, paying it forward and kind of giving, you know, a piece of advice or something. So we've got to be quick because we've got like 2 or 3 more minutes. But do you guys have an Olympic quote or a piece of advice that you would like to share with our audience that has really made an impression upon you? And Chidi, you can go first on this one if you want to.
Okay. I would say
you're like, thank you.
It doesn't matter. I would say that the biggest one that I've been living by, I would say these last few years, is living with no regrets. And, you know, making decisions based off of, like, if I make this decision, am I going to regret this later on? And if I am, then make it happen to do it, you know, and if I'm not, then okay, move on to the next. So just living intentionally with everything that I do, knowing that, like, I'm never going to look back and be like, oh, I wish I would have done that, you know, because we have control over that sometimes. And I feel like that has been kind of like my motto like I said, these last 2 years, and it's really helped me live like a full, like, joyful, authentic life. And I enjoy that.
Okay. I love that. What about you, Kaleigh?
I think with everything going on in the past year, as cliche as it may sound, is just enjoy and embrace the moment. And I think I've been viewing that as just embracing my connections and my teammates and just having love for all of them and checking in on them. And, you know, after Rio, that's what I remember the most. I don't remember much of the water polo games. I remember, though, holding my teammate's hand on top of the podium and, you know, singing the national anthem, and those lifelong friendships made it throughout this process.
That is so cool. Okay, wait, we forgot. Did you bring your Olympic medal?
I do. I have it right here.
Okay, show us. Yeah!
It's a little banged up. It's seen some people in some places.
That's awesome.
You should see my bronze one. It literally looks like I dragged it back from Vancouver. So Chidi, okay, you're going to have one of those too. You guys are going to like share in all of your Olympic gold medal moments. I'm really, really excited for you. So, okay, I'm going to be in Tokyo. I'm going to find my way. I just want you ladies to know that. So thank you so much for joining us in this much needed conversation. I'm so humbled by what you have both accomplished and are going to continue to accomplish. And I'm really, really excited to follow you on your journey into Tokyo 2020. So, and to all of you at home, on behalf of all of the athletes from Rally with Champions, Chidi, Kaleigh, and myself, well. Thank you so much for joining us for our second ever live virtual workshop. If you loved it, please join us again and tell all of your friends to join us too. Our next workshop is going to be April 16th at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And our topic is going to be Beyond the Arena. So what lessons that these athletes took right from their sport and are using every day in their daily life. So we're also going to have two more incredible Olympians. Amy Gilchrist, who is a swimmer. I'm like an anchor. She's an actual swimmer. So it's going to be amazing. And then one of your teammates, Chitty, who I cannot wait to talk to, Valerie Ariotto. Ariotto, did I say that right?
Ariotto, yeah.
Ariotto, she is going to be so cool. So she's a softball player, a teammate of Chitty's, and this is going to be both their first time qualifying for the Olympics. So that's really cool. I can't wait to hear from them and start to apply all the good things that they tell us. So thank you again. I hope your Olympic flame is burning a little bit brighter, and we'll see you next time on Rally with Champions. Thank you.
Thank you. Go USA.
Thank you.
Woo!